Hi, everybody. This is Gary Dema Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Really not a whole lot to go over. We saw the bulls try to gap it up again. One of the trades I said was look to go short the SPY and long the IWM. And the first, I didn't. What it just was moving a little too fast. I wasn't able to get into it. But it actually would have worked out perfect because you can see after the first, hang on one second, let me go here. So is this, hang on one, I'm just, okay, so here we are. So you can see we had this gap up and it lasted a couple minutes and then came straight down again. And if we take a look at IWM, that actually didn't turn, let me go to a 5-minute chart. That didn't turn until 10:10, and it was going higher as IWM was going lower. But really, honestly, it moved really fast, and then it just got really boring. And that's what I took the I sold some when we were heading down here on it. Oh, that's a 2-minute. Hang on one second. Okay, so when we gapped up to the 68.70, it started moving too fast, and we came down to here. And once we got down to this support, I actually wrote 68.10. Put 68.10, 6800. A put credit spread, and that was a fairly easy trade. We never even came close because I just didn't. There's too many support layers that that the bulls would have stepped in unless some crazy news came out. So that was easy. And then believe it or not, when we wrote it up here, I wrote the 688, 685, 690 call spread. That was good. The S&P was actually worked out really good. That was not the issue today. The issue was, one, the quantum stocks that are in the portfolio. They got hit pretty hard again today. But really, the torture was IWM because we had this big move up, and it looked like they were just going to squeeze the shorts all the way up to the 248 level. But we came into this resistance, and we pulled back. And really, my thought process was that we were going to come down to this support right around here or this support and then shoot up and make it into the resistance or higher. And once we got to this support, we started building a long position, and this thing just didn't stop. So then from there, we took a 244 put and call trade there, and we flatlined. So the IWM absolutely crushed me today. The fund didn't really do bad at all, but what it did was, but what it did, we would have had a really nice day, but we only ended up $300 just because really these are the quantum stocks. But this is IWM. This is what really hurt us the most today. But I mean, everything was pretty much, these quantum stocks got crushed. I still believe I put in the room, I gave them targets that I would be looking at to buy RGTI, RGTIW, and QBTS as well as IREN because they're all coming into support levels right now. And I do believe they're going to get a decent bounce, and they may just have to be a trade. We'll wait and see. But so right now, I'm pretty sure that Congress is going to pass that the government opens back up again. Yay! At least that would be for the airports. So we could get a spike higher. We have to wait and see on it, but we're going to get some massive sell signals. I do not believe that we're blasting through here. So anywhere up here, you can build a short position where we're probably at a bare minimum. The first target's going to be 67.29 to close this gap, but I think it could go lower than that. We have to just kind of wait and see, or we're just going to build this big, huge range right here and trade within that until the bearish cycle part is over. So. Like I said, if we move up higher, we have the resistance right at the 68.80. If it gets above that, then we have to keep an eye on the previous highs, which is the 69.22. But if we're going to go up there, I do believe, because if we take a look at IWM and go out to a larger chart here, look how much room that this has to get up to the highs. And we remember last time they did it, this is the way they played catch up. So to me, I think if you're going to, you want a hedge position, you want to be looking long, even though the IWM didn't really fare out too well today. But like I said, I think there's just a lot of anxiety out there, especially with these quantum stocks that have been getting crushed, because that's all the people have been talking about, and everybody was jumping on when they're at the highs. So, that affects the IWM and the small caps. But I still think that if there's going to be, if you're going to see the S&P try to make it up to new all-time highs or test those areas, you're going to see IWM trading up there. So that's another, we have still from here, what do we have? Almost 9 points to the upside to get to the previous highs. So to me, I think that's the safer trade on it. But again, even on this, even if we make these highs here, you're going to see IWM that's going to have some bearish divergences too. So I'm not really too bullish on anything right now. I really wish I would have, even when we got into the quantum stocks, when they had that big drop, and then they jumped up another 20% from the lows. And I thought that maybe that was the lows because it was panic, but obviously it was not. They're going to the second level of support. But, it would have been nice getting rid of those things on it and then, buying back. But I still think buying at these levels is safe, especially if you're looking to hold them for a while. So let's get back to the S&P. So if they head higher, we have resistance right here, 68.81. Then you're going to have your round number, 6,900, and then 6,920. So those would be the resistance areas. Now, the bears, they're going to have to get it through to 68.11. And then from there, there's going to be this natural support here from the gap up, and that's going to be at the 67.71. And then the next support will be 67.30. If we go below that, then from there, I'm thinking we're coming down to the 65.50 area, or possibly even lower than that, because as I said, we're probably going to get some kind of test of the 200-day moving average. And the only reason you're just going to go by history, and the longer they go, even like here. So we went, hang on one second, let me just do this. Okay, so I just made it a bigger thing. So you can see from here, we haven't had a test of the 200-day moving average since May. So we've had some runs that have done this, where they've gone up like this, but eventually they're going to come down and test it. And I do believe we're in this phase right in here where we're going to come down and make this test of the 67.50, and that will probably be coming in a fairly fast manner. I don't believe it's going to be anything slow, just like this was. This started on July 16th. This is 2024. It ended on August 2nd. So it was 2 weeks, but the S&P dropped from 5,700 all the way down to 5130, which is a 10% correction, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for here. So this is where I'd be buying, but again, that what I'm nervous about with that is, I really need these quantum stocks to take a bump, get a bump up, because I'd like to scale out more on that, especially if we are going to get this kind of move. But the next thing is we may, we may just run until the end of the year. It's hard to say with this. I know the valuations is a very big concern for a lot of traders. The volatility, these big up and down moves is there. So, you just want to be, I'm cautiously bearish. I'm not looking to short anything heavy right now. I'm just more, if we get a decent pop up, especially in the quantums, I'm probably going to lighten up on them, because they would definitely went down a lot further than I thought they were going to. But now they're testing some of their moving averages as well. So it's actually healthy for them. But again, if you have a long-term outlook, just let them ride, especially if you're long, RGTIW from $2.50. That's really no big deal on that. So again, really the bears, this is going to be the line they have to get through, the 68.11, but we're going to have the 6800. That's going to be regular support too. And then the next line is going to be right here, the 67.70. And if they fill this gap and they keep going, then I believe these lows are going to be taken out, and we're probably going to be testing the 65. The 65.50, and let's just leave it at there. I don't really care if we're going to go down to 62.50 or we're going up to 7,000. Let's just take it one day at a time on it. So again, upside, we're going to see some bearish divergences. I'd be more of a seller up here, especially if for some reason they're going to really jack these markets up because the government's open and they actually go and they gap it above here, which is not a crazy thing. We've seen them gap it up over 50 points before, so we got to keep an eye. But I'd be shorting that pretty heavily. I'd be fading that gap up, because first of all, it'd be a gap to new all-time highs. So 15-minute chart, you can see we have these bearish divergences with each high we've had. So again, we have this 6,800, 6,805. This is what the bears need to get through. And on IWM, this one's fairly simple, because if the bulls can get above these highs right here, then we're probably coming up and testing the 249, 250 level, and then eventually 252. If the Bears can break through this 240, 255, we're probably coming down to close this gap at 241.70, but more likely coming down to the 240 level. So let's just see what plays out tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you guys in